I'm going to do a really short episode this week, specifically focused on leadership and how you put your team in a position to lead well. How you put your team in a position to lead well. And I'm going to lean on a story that came out earlier this week where the NCAA ruled on the Antonio Pierce issues related to the recruiting violations that happened in 2021 and 2022 when he was a member of Herm Edwards' staff. And I think this highlights a lack of leadership at multiple levels inside an organization. It also highlights an instance where if the leader is putting themselves first and doesn't have any view on consequences, they will get themselves into situations where they ask others inside the organization to go and operate in a way that is not aligned with how they operate. So let's talk a little bit about leadership. Leadership, from my perspective, my definition, and I'm interested in your definitions of this, but leadership from my perspective is how we move forward. How we move toward an objective, move toward a direction that we're going, how we move ourselves forward, how we move our teams forward, how we move our organization forward. That is leadership. And as Chuck Schluter shared with me early on, relatively early on in my career, it's been about 10 or 15 years ago that I first met Chuck. Leaders provide guidance, direction, and motivation. Leaders provide guidance, direction, and motivation. So if you take my definition, leadership is how we move forward, and take Chuck's perspective, leaders provide guidance, direction, and motivation. One of the key things you need to know in order to be an effective leader is a view, or have a view or perspective on where you want to go. Where do you want to go? What is your broader objective? The second thing you need to know is have a clear understanding, clear assessment of where you are. Because if you know where you are and you know where you want to go, you can build a plan to help get yourself there. And that plan can be looked at in the context of short-term, medium-term, and long-term steps. This is where design comes into place. So 2 core leadership skills are achieving results, designing for success based on an understanding of knowing what your goal is, knowing what that objective is, knowing what the strategies are that are going to help you get there, and then knowing what the tactics are that you're going to put in place in order to achieve that result. So achieving results. Leadership is also about problem solving. So when we have a problem in front of us, how do we go through the process of first identifying the problem, getting perspective around what we know and what we don't know about the problem, understanding why it's important to solve, why it continues to persist, how we've been going about solving it in the past. And this gets into the problem-solving framework. So leaders provide guidance, direction, and motivation. Leaders know what their destination is. They know what their current state is. They can help with planning. Leaders have a skill, a problem-solving skill. Leaders are also skilled in decision-making, meaning we have criteria for how we make decisions. We prioritize certain things, make decisions on what we're going to continue to do, what we're going to cut off. And then the last piece that I think from a skill perspective, and there's 4 skills that we just hit on, but the last piece is leaders are skilled, or should be skilled, in communication. So how we communicate, how we make decisions, how we solve problems, and how we achieve results. Those are the things that core skills that leaders should have. And if you're struggling with any of those skills, please take a listen to a couple of the podcast episodes that we've done around simplifying each of those areas. And that should help you in your current role as a leader of self. So leadership starts with self. It's a Stoic philosophy. You've heard me say this before. If you're looking for leadership, start with a mirror. And I don't think Antonio Pierce or Herm Edwards took the opportunity to look in the mirror and determine, are we providing guidance, direction, and motivation? Are we doing things that are aligned with the long-term success of the university? Are we doing things that are aligned with the long-term success of the student athletes that we're there to support? Or are we operating based on our own specific agenda? Okay, so we hit on a couple of skills. We hit on a couple of different areas where you can go back and listen to episodes and kind of go deep into tools and processes that will help you with those skills. I think another skill that's important for leaders to be really comfortable with and have an understanding of is design. And that gets into that planning and execution piece that we were talking about a little bit earlier. So leadership, how we move forward. Leaders provide guidance, direction, and motivation. Leadership skills include communication, decision-making, problem-solving, and achieving results. If you work on those skills and take the mentality that the guidance that Chuck provided, you will be a better leader of self. And once you've demonstrated an ability to lead self well, then you'll be in a position where you can lead others. And when you've demonstrated an ability to lead other person well, then you've earned the right to lead teams. And when you've demonstrated an ability to lead teams, you've earned the right to lead teams of teams. I think we overcomplicate this leadership piece. And I think there's an opportunity for us to simplify our approach by building specific skills and starting at the front line, building better leaders. James Kerr, in his book Legacy, has a quote, "Leaders create leaders." I've modified that. I firmly believe that leaders build leaders. And it is our obligation as leaders to build that next level of leadership, whether it's for self, it's in our family, it's on the teams that we work with, it's inside our neighborhood, it's in our community. And if we become better leaders of self, a lot of the other stuff that we have to deal with will take care of itself. Those customer engagements will start taking care of themselves because we're better leaders in the way that we engage with our customers. The things that happen in our neighborhoods will take care of themselves because we're better leaders in the way that we operate in those neighborhoods. And I think this is one of the things that's missing inside our country is a void in leadership. And I'll include a link to a post that I had shared a couple years back around the void in leadership. You're going to hear a tone change relative to the podcast. When I'm speaking, I'm going to focus on leadership and building out leadership capabilities in organizations and in teams, specifically in revenue teams, and from an organization perspective, specifically across team when it comes to cross-team collaboration. Again, guidance, direction, motivation, communication, decision-making, problem-solving, and achieving results. And if we build those things together as a group, we will help move our businesses forward. We help move our families forward. We will help move our country forward. And we help move ourselves forward. Thanks for listening to the podcast. If you found this valuable, please share it with someone. Comment and tag me on LinkedIn or Twitter. The shares help. Like and subscribe to the video if you've watched the video version on YouTube. If you are interested in joining a community for individual leaders, individuals who are looking to build their leadership skills through experimentation, testing, feedback loops, check out the Leader Lab. We are in the process of our 30-day blueprint to success. 30-day total success blueprint is the official naming, and feedback has been really strong so far. Sales is a thinking process. Business is a thinking process. Life is a thinking process. How are you thinking differently about yours? Thanks.